Well, how long has the restaurant been in business? Your restaurant?
We're going on February. It'll be 4 years.
Okay.
So we've been there
Wow.
for a while.
Yeah.
Growing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then your parents owned a restaurant way back in the day, correct?
Way back in the day, 1976, also called Carmelita's.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a little girl, they had that, and they kept that location for about 10 years and moved on to another location on Spencer Street. And then Juanita's came in and had a business at that time. So there's a lot of people thinking that I'm affiliated with Juanita's.
Yeah, there was a lot of people. I remember Juanita's. It wasn't a family member or anything like that, right?
No.
Yeah, it was just
no.
a
different people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I didn't like Juanita's.
No, I'm sorry.
I remember when I mean, this was 10 years ago. Yeah, maybe 8 years ago. They were over in Liverpool behind Hyde's, and I think that was their second location.
Right.
And friends would like rave about, and this is way before Eat Local, because people would rave about Juanita's is so good, you should go check them out. And I just remember we walked in there, and I don't mind saying this because they've been gone for a while, but like the floors were like in the dining room were like slippery because they were greasy, and like in my opinion, if a Mexican restaurant has a jalapeno popper on the menu, it's probably not a good sign.
Right. Little Tex-Mex there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, correct.
Little different,
Yeah. Right, for sure. So yeah, I was not a huge fan of them, and I never, Well, you said your parents had the restaurant for 10 years.
For about 10, 12 years.
Okay.
And then they retired, and then we all grew up, had our families, and I said, I'm going to have the restaurant again. I'm going to do it again. That was my dream, to open up Carmelita's. And I said to my mom, I really want to open up this business, but 1, 2, 3, 4 children, I didn't want them to have that kind of experience because we had that experience, which I loved, but I wanted to have more of a home experience for my children.
Yeah.
So I waited a little bit, and I waited until I'm my age, and I opened up the business. I just did it. I just did it. And there's a lot of Carmelita's customers, that come in frequently, and we have a whole array of new customers. And I think because it's fresh, it's different. I never compare myself to any of the restaurants because I think that we're all trying to make a living, and each restaurant has their uniqueness.
Yeah.
And I have mine, and I try to do as fresh and local as possible. So I'm trying to, and also I have celiac, so it's
Right.
become a huge deal because most of my product, everything is gluten-free except for the flour tortillas.
Yeah.
So now about Carmelita's this way, it's changing to about Theresa having celiac, having gluten-free food there now.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a big deal. I was just, I work at Gerhar's, and part of the thing we're doing there is we're inviting restaurant owners and chefs in to make like cooking videos with us.
Sure,
We have this gorgeous test kitchen there.
I'm sure.
And so we started doing those, and we're trying to kind of coordinate them with like the national food days of each month, which there's like a million of them each and every single month. And I forget, I think there's a day in September, it's National like Gluten-Free Day, something like that. And I was trying to think through I was like, all right, well, let's say we bring a chef in to do something like that and do some gluten-free dish. Who do I know of in Syracuse, besides people who do desserts?
Right.
Who do I know of in the area that does anything that's like a gluten-free, like a legitimate gluten-free menu, or even just has more than 1 or 2 offerings that they make from
Correct.
scratch? And I couldn't think of anybody but you. I mean, I couldn't think of one single restaurant besides you that does anything significant like that in our
Right.
area.
And I do believe, because I'm going there at 4:00 today, anything but beer.
Yeah, that's right. They
And
do
I've
have some
not
stuff.
been there, and I'm going to check it out.
Yeah.
And we're going to have tasting there, so I'm a little
That's
excited
cool.
about it. So that's the other one that's
Yeah.
gluten-free that I'm aware of.
Yeah. But yeah, there's not a lot. I mean, anything but beer. That's right. I forgot about them. But there's not
Right.
people added gluten-free stuff to the menu to kind of be that way.
Right.
But especially like 2 years ago, everything like you could just say it was gluten-free. Now you have to like distinguish
Exactly.
if it's gluten-friendly or if it really is gluten-free.
No, and every time I go out, I end up sick, so it's not worth it for me. So I may go out, have a salad, plain salad, that's it. And that's not fun for me, but that's the way of life.
Yeah.
So people coming into my restaurant do not get sick.
Yeah.
They know I'm careful about all my spices, the tortillas that I make, anything that I buy in there is all gluten-free, so there's no worries.
Yeah.
People come in there and feel safe.
And you have 2 sets of equipment set up. I mean, you have like a separate
Grills.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just 2 separate grills and then we use special solution to clean it off. We change our gloves. We're very particular, and my staff is they're informed.
Yeah.
So they have to know what to say, what the needs of the customer is. It's very important.
Yeah.
So in order to stay in business, you want to do what the customer wants, right? I mean, that's the way it is. So we try our very best to do that.
Do you have a lot of customers that come in, like repeat customers for the gluten-free stuff?
We do.
Yeah.
Huge. Yes.
And are they consistent in coming in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I have people that come in 2-3 times a week. I have one little customer, little boy Ryder. He's our favorite. And their family comes in. Not only them, just it's a big business for us.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but we do the right thing. I have celiac, so that I think makes the difference.
Yeah, it really does. I was asking because Dolce Vita does a lot of keto, and we'll get a lot of customers that come in for that. But with keto, we found that they come in a lot in the beginning and then they just stop.
Sure.
And obviously keto and celiac are 2 very different things. But yeah, that's pretty interesting.
It is interesting, and it's growing that way. It seems like it's all about that. So I'm coming up with some new recipes and ideas for them. But the thing that's changing for us too, there's more vegan people. So I'm going to start putting out specials again, like I did before.
Oh, that's cool.
So we'll start doing that again.
Yeah.
But during this pandemic, we've cut our hours, and we're trying to do what we can.
Yeah. Yeah, it's let's talk about that for a little bit. So, what was it like? I mean, obviously, I'm sure it was hell, but what was it like when everything started?
It was actually scary for me because I had a couple of people working for me that I care deeply about.
Yeah.
And one of my cooks had said to me that, Theresa, save your business. This is really important, and then I can come on later on.
Yeah.
And I said, are you sure? Don't worry about me. He says, I really want you to grow your business.
Yeah.
Do what you have to do to save it,
Right.
actually. So I had to let him go, and, we parted wonderfully.
Yeah.
And I felt sad with that because he was just like dynamic for the business aspect. And, but you have to do what you have to do. And since then, he's found a wonderful job.
Yeah.
And so he's doing really well. I had to let a couple of people go, and so it was me for 12 weeks and another server, and we were cranking it and doing the best that we could, and we finally got to the point where I couldn't do it anymore. So I had my son Austin come in and help. He could not find an internship. So sadly, as it was, he had to learn the business again. And so he's like, wow, Mom, I think I have appreciation for you now, right?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't see his mother just saying hello to people, fixing food, making food. He's there early in the morning, cooking and cutting and cleaning.
Yeah.
So for him, that was a good experience, but it's been very difficult throughout this whole thing. A different experience, but we've been busy.
Yeah.
We've been busy.
That's good.
Thank God, right? And so people want us to stay there.
Yeah.
They bought gift cards from us. They, different businesses had for their employees.
That's awesome.
So I thought that's how we got by.
Yeah.
And so I don't think we're going anywhere right now. I hope things get better for everybody because it's tough.
Yeah. Without a doubt, it's tough. I had, during quarantine, I was cooking a lot and doing we had a sourdough going and doing a lot of pizza and all that kind of stuff. And we have this one family friend who lives in Oklahoma, and she would always comment and say, your food looks so amazing, you should open a restaurant. But she kept saying it over and over and over again. Every time I would post, that's her comment.
It's tough.
And I would never, a couple times I deleted it because I think that's to tell somebody they should open a restaurant it's not an insult, but it's, I was one day I was sitting there thinking, as I was getting ready to go to work, I was like, man, what do I want to say? Like, what should I respond to her? And my thought was, and I never did it, but I never wrote the response. But my thought was, I want to wish on my worst enemy to own a restaurant and own it. It is such a hard, difficult way of life.
Absolutely. And because I grew up in it, I know it. It's not something I have a passion. So my passion, I made my dream came true. And because I have that passion, that's why it's working.
Yeah.
If you don't, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, I was there late last night. I'm cleaning and I'm making sure that restaurant sparkles. So it's a lot of work.
It's and it really does take over your life. Unless you have a restaurant that has really like very limited hours, which a lot do right now. But
Right.
unless you're small and it is going to take over everything.
Sure.
Like when I worked in retail sales, that was just kind of like the thing. Listen, don't ask me to do anything on weekends because I'll be working. These holidays, except for like Christmas and Thanksgiving and Easter, I will be working.
Right.
And that was just kind of what you did. You had a very different lifestyle. It's the same thing in the restaurant industry.
Completely. And right now we're closed Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, so that's given me an extra day to recoup and think about what I want to do with the business. So I've applied for my liquor license.
Oh, wow.
I don't think you knew about that. So even though it's a hard time, I think it's going to be better for business.
Yeah.
And people just want those fancy margaritas. They want to drink those margaritas and have some drinks available. So that's our next step. But everything really has been, you can't project a lot at this time. So it's been on a weekly basis what we're going to do.
Yeah, for sure. So your parents, how old were you when your parents had the restaurant?
Maybe 10, 11.
Okay.
So we grew up working that restaurant, making those tortillas. A lot of work. And then doing our homework later on and serving. So it was nice. It was a good experience for us. My father wanted to keep his girls together like this, so they weren't going out and misbehaving, of course.
So you were 10 or 11 when they opened it? Okay. And then they had it for 10 years?
Yeah, about 10 or 12 years.
Yeah.
Around 81, 82. I can't remember now.
Yeah. What was it like when they closed it down?
We were excited because we worked so hard. I think the kids were very excited. And then going into 6 months to a year, it was like, oh, what are we doing now? Where's all the people?
Yeah.
Where's all the fun? Where's all the excitement? So there was a little bit of a letdown later on.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because we were so busy. So I understand that dynamic very well. And having this restaurant for my retirement, because that's what I'm planning, it was just very sad. And I said, I am going to open that restaurant again. I did. I promised myself that I was going to do it at whatever age, and I did it. But I didn't want my kids at a young life to be at the restaurant all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was a great experience for me. We traveled, we did a lot, but we were there. And now my kids are older. They're both in college. So it's just going to be me and my husband. See, I don't know what I'm going to do with him, though. Get him to work at the restaurant.
Yeah, it's my parents had a diner when we lived in Kentucky for about a little over a year. And I was young. I was maybe like 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there. And my siblings, like my sister was off at college. My two brothers were in high school. I was still homeschooled. And so, I mean, my days were, up there for sure.
Right.
At that time, I didn't really think, it was like, this is amazing. I'm at a restaurant all day long.
Exactly.
And we had some arcade games. So I would go steal quarters and go and play the arcade games if I wanted to. But at the time, it was great. And looking back on it, I don't have like bad memories of it, but it was definitely, you were there.
Yeah.
And especially the stress for my parents. That's maybe the one thing I remember the most about it. Besides like the fact that our whole family was always there. My grandparents were always there. Friends of ours from the school or the church were always there. Right. So it did kind of feel like everybody was just hanging out all the time.
Right. Socializing, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Then when you go back to, there's no restaurant, it's different. that's what you miss.
Yeah. When I'm back home visiting maybe once every other year or so, I always drive by to see what it is, and it's been like 8 different things since then.
Right.
None of them a restaurant. But yeah, it's always interesting to drive past that building for sure.
It's your memories.
Right.
Your childhood.
Yeah.
It's good.
So, so what did you do for a career? I mean, your parents were out of the restaurant by the time you were, 21, 22?
Yeah, 21, 22. So I ended up working at Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and I worked there for a couple of years. I then married, and I decided that I was going to stay home and raise my 2 children. So I stayed home, raised my 2 children, and divorced.
Yeah.
And met my current husband, and we had 2 more children, and stayed home for them as well. And then I worked at a medical office as a medical secretary, loved it.
Yeah.
And I interpreted for them as well. And so it was very nice. And then I worked a couple of different jobs. I was HR for Macy's, and stayed home with the kids, and then I just kept searching for the right place. And believe it or not, I actually prayed and said, I'm going to let God lead me the way to tell me what's good for me.
Yeah.
And I did, and I stumbled upon a little place in Cicero because my kids were like, you're never going to do it. You're never going to do it. Well, I did it. Now they're saying, you're never home. Truly. So that's what I did, and the restaurant came back to me just like that.
Yeah. Had there been a restaurant in that space before you?
There was.
Okay.
There were a couple of businesses there, and nobody's lasted. So I guess I'm the one that's lasted the longest.
It doesn't really make a heck. I mean, there's a lot of traffic on that road.
Yes.
And that's good, but it is kind of like a dying plaza a little bit.
Right.
I mean, there's the Green Planet space has been
Right.
empty forever, and you've got the pizza shop, and you have like the bottle return and the good.
Yeah.
So it's not really the greatest plaza. It doesn't make sense that you should be busy.
Right. And we're incredible. I can't believe the people that come down from Watertown, Utica. People come from Syracuse University. That we have a lot of city people, believe it or not, that will take that 20-minute drive. It's 20 minutes.
Yeah.
If I want to come downtown and I want to eat, I'll drive the 20 minutes. It's not that big of a deal because, and you can sit outside, you can sit inside. It's very warm and loving. It's a lovely little place.
Yeah.
So I think people like the way they're treated when they walk into the restaurant. I have a very good staff, very, very loving staff.
Yeah.
And when we go out to eat, you want somebody to be wonderful.
Right.
You're paying that money, so they're there to make you feel very special. And for the most part, I think most people do.
Yeah, for sure.
They really do.
I told Zach, because I had Zach on the podcast a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And we were talking about brunch and how at 3 Lives they might start doing brunch down the road. And I hate brunch. I cannot stand brunch except for yours.
Really?
Yeah, that one time that Rebecca and I came. It's just like brunch to me is like overpriced breakfast, in my opinion.
Yes.
And it's usually like a little disappointing because it's people who don't typically cook breakfast are now making breakfast.
Right. Ours is different.
Right. Yeah, it's very different. And it was great. It really was. I loved it.
We're going to start, thank you. We're going to start doing brunches in October again.
Okay.
So I haven't decided if I'm going to do the once a month or because of COVID, or if I'm going to do it every Sunday.
Yeah.
Say October to April.
Okay.
So I haven't decided that, but we have certainly had a lot of people ask us when you're going to start up brunch again.
That's cool.
So very different foods. I make those sopes and different soups and
Yeah.
yeah,
You were busy for brunch, right?
very busy. Yeah, so I will have to do it by reservation this time because of the COVID.
Yeah,
But hopefully, I don't know when, hopefully some changes can come about and we can open up again. Just don't know when.
Yeah. So did you have a lot of takeout happening during COVID?
Yes, that's what saved us.
Yeah.
Unbelievable amount of takeouts.
Has the takeout still maintained, or is that dropped off and you're just getting people coming in?
No, it's dropped off a tad, but we're busy with takeout and people sitting in.
That's great.
and out. So the people that don't want to come in yet are still getting the takeout.
Yeah.
And I have a lady that comes down from Watertown every Saturday to get that chocolate
Really?
cake.
That's
Yep.
an hour drive.
An hour drive. She comes every Saturday for
Wow.
that. So that's a devoted customer, right?
Yeah, for sure. And you have a nice little outdoor area as well, too. So, I mean, that helps.
Yes.
The one thing I've been hearing from restaurants the most during this, during like the reopening, is that those that have great outdoor seating, or at least a lot of it, are doing better than anybody else. And I'm hearing from a lot that takeout is not completely, but a lot of it has died off. You know, it's
Yeah.
really just been delivery or dine-in or the outdoor.
Yeah, it's been positive.
Yeah.
I have to say, it's been positive. I'm shocked, actually.
Yeah.
But it goes to show that people still want you there.
Right. For sure.
They're going to support you.
Yeah.
So, and we do try to support all the local businesses around, and everybody in our area supports each other. Like, we're near Toss and Fire. Nick,
Yeah.
he comes in. I
Yeah.
go to his place. All these other places, we try to support each other.
Yeah. That's
as much
great.
as possible.
Yeah.
And then people are closing, and it's sad.
Yeah. I mean, our business has been doing Eat Local. We haven't really, the marketing side of things picked up a little bit.
Good.
We picked up it seemed like we had a couple we had one client that shut down for like, they do a huge delivery business. But when quarantine happened, they tried delivery only for like 2 days. And then he was just like, nope, we're done. And he stayed shut down until August. He got PPP loans and that kind of
Sure.
stuff, so they could keep going. But he shut down until August. He was not going to rush it, and so like we lost that account. But then we had another account add us, and and that's one thing I've heard a lot from people I know in the marketing world in Syracuse, is that they got so busy
Yeah.
during all of this. Businesses were contacting them and like, all right, now's the time. We need to start ramping up our marketing. So,
Right.
yeah. And there was a lot of restaurants that did really well. Another client that during takeout, they made more money than they've ever made.
Sure.
And they've been in business for like 25 years.
Sure.
More money than they've ever made when they were just doing takeout.
Right. Right.
know?
It's made a difference. There's nothing for anybody to do except eat.
Exactly.
And if you have good food, good restaurant, clean restaurant, very, very important, and if you walk into our restaurant, you're not going to find
Yeah.
any dirt. You know that.
Yeah.
So,
Your kitchen, I've said this to a lot of people, but your kitchen is maybe like the top 3 cleanest I've ever been in a restaurant anywhere in Central New York. I've been in a lot of kitchens.
right.
And there's more than a few of them that I've walked into, and then I'll get in the car and text my wife and say, we're never eating there
Oh,
again."
no, it's nasty. Some of them you walk in,
Yeah.
some of these nice restaurants, and you're like, ooh, but my bathrooms are clean. I even have men compliment saying,
Yeah.
where's the owner? I want to talk to her. Your bathroom is so clean. I go, you want to walk in my kitchen? You're welcome to at any point. So I work there. I want to make sure it's clean, just like my house.
Yeah.
Just, everything is clean. Every single night we break everything down and clean it. And I think that's important. That's
Yeah.
like one of the most important things.
So what was it like? I mean, you've been in business for 4 years. You're a stay-at-home mom. I mean, what was it like getting up and running? Like, how did you, walk me just through like that process of you opening the restaurant.
Truly. I had been dealing with a couple of people at the Women of Wise for their advice.
Oh, yeah.
I sat down monetarily to find out what was needed for me to open up this business. However, I'm listening to their input and recognizing the importance of having a lot of money and being able to open up, to hold on to things. There was something in the back of my head that said, I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to borrow any money. I'm just going to do it with my money that I've saved. So I made a plan for myself and said, this is what I was going to do. And I'm waiting for the right place. The place in Cicero opened up. Everything it's like a God thing. It really is. That's what happened to me.
Yeah.
Put it in his hands and it happened to me. I had a plan. I knew what I was doing. X, Y, and Z. I had chairs already. I knew what I needed to buy, and I just did it. I just did it. And I decided that's why I didn't take out any loans. I don't owe anybody any money. If I
Yeah.
close down today, I close down. I don't owe anybody.
Yeah.
And that's rare.
Yeah.
I pay cash every week.
Yeah.
Because I don't want any loans. Now, if I wanted to grow another business, say I wanted to move downtown, I wanted to move somewhere else, it's a little different story.
Yeah.
But this gave me this location gave me the opportunity to do what I did at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
With me having more nervousness because I'm like, okay, every day, how many people am I going to have come in, right?
Yeah.
I don't have, all this extra hundreds of thousands of dollars to,
Right.
oh, that's okay. No, I do everything with T-shirts we'll buy this week. We'll do this week. There's a plan.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I've been able to sustain myself with this restaurant.
Yeah, that's great. So when in the beginning, because you were opening up with, paying for everything and not going out and getting some, loan, well, when you got the space, I know there were restaurants there before. Was the equipment there? Or did you have
Some
to,
of the equipment was there.
So you had to go out and buy like the stuff that you didn't have.
Right.
Does that mean that like did you have a limited, I'm sure the menus changed in the 4 years, but did you have like a limited menu based on what you had available when you opened? Or, I'm just trying to think like, I love the concept of you doing that, of like, all right, this is what I have available.
Right.
This is what I can do, and this is how I'm going to open, and it's going to be like this. IBU Brewery, who's closing down.
Right. Love them.
Right. Yeah, love those guys. The first brewery that we ever really connected with.
Yes, they're great.
And, I think it's for the better. I mean, obviously it's sad.
Yes.
But, I know that Mike, the owner, had taken a position back at Lockheed Martin because he's, a brilliant engineer.
Sure, absolutely.
And I'm sure, especially with COVID, it was just difficult to be able to do both, to say the least difficult. But they were kind of a similar mindset with their business. They opened up very slowly. They didn't do what a lot do. And open up and try and get 100 wholesale accounts and have a tap room and be canning.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. You have to do it slow, and that's why I have grown this business slowly, and that's why it's growing to stay a while.
Yeah.
I believe that if you get everything all at once, it's not going to happen. Little things at a time. So like I waited. It's about the food at our restaurant. It's not about the drink. So I waited. A year later, I got the beer and wine. That went very well. People are asking about more margaritas, different margaritas, blah, blah, blah. So I decided, okay, this is the time to get the liquor license. Baby steps. You don't have to have everything. If you have a good product, which is my food, in my eyes, this will come.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So that's what I believe. And, I had people say, can we get these T-shirts now? Can we get this? Nope, it's all coming. It's baby steps, and that's what's worked for my business.
Yeah.
And like I said, if I want to open up a little taqueria someplace in the city or do something, who knows what the future will hold.
Yeah.
Right? But baby steps, and that's really, truly what's made us last.
That's great.
So I know how much I need a week, and everybody's been generous with us throughout this COVID. It's been difficult. Of course it has for everybody.
Right.
And that's the only thing I can tell you is that the baby steps have worked for us. And of course now I've extended my menus and I cook everything homemade. Like the chile relleno, I don't want that on my menu. Why? Because I want it fresh.
Yeah.
And that chocolate cake that I make it with Mexican chocolate. As soon as I post that, it's gone. So my people are like, what the heck? There's no more left. So I may have to find that extra person to help me.
Yeah.
So, in a couple of weeks, I may be looking for that right person for our restaurant again.
Yeah, that's great. Is there anything, well, I mean, I guess you kind of just answered this question. I was going to say, is there anything on your, like, that you wish you could put on your menu that you just don't? And that could be even just because of, like, the people aren't, people in Syracuse aren't going to know what it is or get it.
They do know those. There's like my pozoles, and I'll make different soups, moles I'll have on certain days, but like I made sopes the other day by hand, and corn tortillas, and this week I did it with beans and chicken and hot sauce and onion, and I served 4 of them, sold them as appetizers, loved them. People wanted them to go. So whenever I create a special, instead of putting it on the menu, I'm doing that instead.
Yeah, that's smart.
And it seems to work, and then I can handle it because I like to do my own cooking.
Right.
I'm very fussy about certain things, so I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing, but
Yeah. It sounds like, I mean, I don't know if this is the case, but it sounds like the restaurant, as much of it is as it is like part of you and your life. I mean,
it is.
you know, your parents had their restaurant for 10 years. But for most restaurant owners that I know, it is their life.
Yeah.
Like the restaurant, there's nothing else that exists outside of that. It doesn't sound like that's the case with you.
No, I think it's because I'm experienced. I grew up in it. So it's my family's fault, my mom and dad. You have to make time for yourself. And my father said in order to be successful, you have to have at least 2 days off. Our days off were Sunday and Mondays. You have to have that time for yourself and family. If you don't have that, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So I had Sundays and Mondays off before and worked the rest of the week. And I added an extra day because of COVID. And it's been wonderful for me.
Yeah.
But that restaurant I do love. You know, and someday I'll retire.
Yeah.
But it's something that I have a passion for. I brought back my parents almost, so it makes me happy. I feel like they're with me every day.
Yeah.
Then the people will come in and tell me stories about how generous and great my parents were at the restaurant. So I'm trying to, it's Carmelita's after my mom, but bring back that whole loving spirit. And yes, family is extremely important. If you don't put that first, you're in trouble.
What was the reason for your parents wanting to close years ago? Was it just kind of done with the industry?
I think they were exhausted.
Yeah.
They were exhausted, and I could see it. You know, my father worked at Crucible Steel. He retired, worked at the restaurant, and, you know, back then it wasn't as organized as today. A whole different world.
Yeah.
But I think, and my mom did so much. My mother did everything, and I see myself doing that a little bit. You got to step back. That's where you have to hire people, and you have to say, I need some help, right? You can't do it by yourself. And
yeah. All right. So what are you eating at home when you're not at the restaurant?
ooh, I love creating new meals at home. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I cook. Jerry cooks the other days. And
He doesn't just come to the restaurant and eat.
no, he doesn't. We're kind of tired of the food.
I think I've told you this story before, but my Uncle Jim grew up in Davenport, Iowa, and his mother was like from Mexican, and her name was I want to say it was Juanita. And I'm telling this story based on my memory, and I've been told before that I got the story wrong. But I don't think I did. But his mom would come and visit, and when I was a kid, we lived in Middletown, Ohio. Anyways, Juanita was there. Anita, I forget.
Anita.
I feel so terrible.
Juanita,
I always
Anita.
yeah. Anyways, so she was there, made this huge Mexican spread, like family recipes. Sunday after church, we all go back to Uncle Jim and Aunt Jennifer's house, and she had been there cooking, and so everybody in the family is, filling their plates with all this great Mexican food and like fresh tortillas and all this stuff.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
And his mother is sitting in the living room, and she's not getting anything to eat. My dad says, what are you doing? Come over here and get something to eat. And she says, she said, oh, I don't eat that shit. I go to Taco Bell.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's funny.
So, I mean, you guys don't eat at the restaurant a lot.
No, I mean, it's all fresh. It's all really good because I use all good ingredients, of course. So, like, if I need something, I treat myself to, like, my chips are homemade, so I treat myself to, like, what do I want? Like, maybe just plain nachos with beans and jalapeno. I'll take, like, 3 or 4 chips, not the whole plate.
Yeah.
So at home, I will make, like, tomorrow I'm going to do beautiful salmon with salad, fresh vegetables from the garden, of course, and throw that all together. We like to eat fish. I try to make whole foods because celiac, that's the way we eat. Yeah. And like I said, my husband's leaving, or my son is leaving. I don't know what I'm going to do. So he and I want to cook some Mediterranean food. I do love Mediterranean food. Yeah. Like hummus, olives. So I incorporate a lot of olives in my food. So I eat more whole food.
Yeah.
Do I want junk? Sure, I want junk, but I can't eat it because I have celiac, so I stay away from it.
Right.
I'm healthier for that, I guess.
I know this sounds like a dumb question.
Oh, no.
But it's not, because there's, I think, well, so have you ever been tempted to put some of those items like Mediterranean dishes or hummus or anything like that on the menu, even as a special at Carmelita's?
Yeah, we've done before. We've had like a sweet potato, which I'm going to do this week. A sweet potato. I think Zach made it up with my spices, almost like a potato, mashed potato on the tostada.
Okay.
It was fabulous.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can do that.
But that's still considered, I mean, that would still be like Mexican to a little bit. Yeah.
Not all Mexicans eat.
Right.
They don't eat tacos. They don't.
Yeah.
There's many foods. Like when we go to Mexico City, my family's from Mexico City. My aunt, she'll cook us pasta. I don't, oh, Tia, I don't want pasta. So no, it's about, there's a variety of foods, of course.
And I think that's obviously, it's a really important factor to know that, maybe not a lot of people know this about Italy either, but like, I think of Alex Fiacchi from Amano, or Fiacchi from Amano. Him and his girlfriend traveled Italy. I think it was just Italy. But anyways, they traveled all around Italy for like 9 months before they had moved back here and opened up the restaurant. And they were all over the country. And so the food in Italy is going to be very different if you're down near the coast, if you're up in the mountains at the northern part of the country, and obviously that's the same case in Mexico.
Right.
It's going to be very different cuisine if you're in Mexico City, especially with all the influence from around the world that Mexico City has, versus if you're in any other part of the country.
100%.
Really.
And the coastal lines, like my uncle would take us to Acapulco. So what would we eat? Fish. So we eat a lot of fish.
Right.
And make it a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
I try not to make fried food at the restaurant. I do a pan-seared fish, but what I'm going to do is add on like little pieces of fish and then put a different flavor on the sauce, on top. So I could do it a little bit different, and everybody's palate taste is different, but when they taste it, it's not, you can tell it's not frozen. It's all fresh.
Right, for sure.
So that's what I'm about, is that. So I will be introducing some more new things.
Right. I'm glad to hear you say that, no, you don't put hummus on your menu. And the thing I was trying to get to is because there are some restaurants that that I've seen where they do something completely different off menu, off concept that they put on. Now, there's the one exception I've seen that did it well, and that was during quarantine, and Kasai Ramen did like a week of like Philly cheesesteak. Sure. Because Kyle's from Philly, and
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And that worked really well. But I'm glad to hear that it's not like, oh, no, I'm going to put this Mediterranean dish or something like that.
Because we eat a lot of olives in Mexico as well.
Right.
So like one of my fish dinners that I've had before would be with like a nice red sauce on top of a piece of fish broiled, or you could have it fried. It's all gluten-free. And I hate to say fried. Yeah. A crispier fish, I would say, with this beautiful red topping with olives on top inside potatoes that are cut it's a very beautiful Mexican dish. Yeah. Little hint of pepper, not a lot, a little hint. Yeah. So that's important.
Do you have a favorite item on your menu?
I like the critter tinga.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
Do you remember the tacos that I had?
Yes. You came in. You said, oh, I need 3 tacos. And I just whipped them up together very fast and said, here you go. So I gave you the Austin and Gerald's crunchy taco. And I gave you, and those were just given to you. I didn't do anything special. And then I gave you actually the steak and peppers and onions. And with not pico, I think I did cilantro and onion. And then the other one was like the tinga. Yeah. And you enjoyed those. Yeah. I mean, it was 2 years ago. We didn't do anything this year because of COVID. I think we actually, on Cinco de Mayo this year, we had Italian food or pizza. Anyways. But yeah, 2 years ago, I did the best taco that I thought in the area. And there was,
I decided to do it like 3 weeks before Cinco de Mayo. I ate like 90 tacos in those 3 weeks. It was ridiculous. But, Carmelita's won. You were the best
I was
taco.
so excited. That was great.
Because you were one of the only ones in the area that did not put some Southwest sour cream or like some heavy sauce on top of the taco.
Very simple.
Right.
Very simple. And like I said, I just made those little tortillas the other day and did that for some customers. I just made a quick, simple dish, and that's what it's about. It's the simplicity.
Right.
You don't have to have anything complicated.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell my staff, my cooking staff. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Right.
It just has to be good.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not for everybody. Everybody's different. Some like you, some don't. And it's okay. That's what life is all about.
And not to mention, you have the best chips
Thank you.
anywhere because you make your own tortillas and then make your own chips.
And it's a lot of work. And that's why I need somebody to come in and help me because it's starting to be too much now, which is good, right?
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
We're going to come, Rebecca's friend, I don't think she's been there before or maybe she has and she loves it. I forget which it is. Anyways, we're going to come either later this week or next week.
Perfect.
So,
Perfect. That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming down today. I appreciate it. So where can people find you? Where are you located and online or Facebook?
So Facebook and at carmelitas.co for our website. And you can also reach us at 6195 State Route 31, Cicero. So coming from Syracuse, it's a 20-minute drive. Take a right, and we're literally, I think, a mile on your left-hand side. Super easy.
Awesome.
So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you.
it.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.